take a deep breath and close your eyes for just a second. Imagine you're a little Japanese child sitting in a Japanese coffee shop with your mother and your adored grandmother who's dressed in her most formal Japanese kimono. Now open your eyes. In walks a foreigner, a tall foreigner. To you, she has no color. She's very pale. She looks like a dead Japanese or maybe the ghost in your storybooks. And she walks directly over to your table and sits down. She begins speaking in somewhat fractured Japanese, and it sounds like mumbo jumbo until you hear your mother's voice come through loud and clear. The child has to go away. I'm pregnant again, and her father will not take care of her. What? Your heart is broken. Now your grandmother looks at you with very sad eyes, and she says to the little foreign lady, "Will you help us?" And the foreign lady says, "I know of a woman in America who would make a very good mother for her." What? A foreign mother? A foreign language? A foreign culture? Maybe a foreign name? Your world collapses. I'd like you to meet my daughter, Christy, my adopted daughter, and my hero. Fast forward 15 years. She's sitting in her therapist's office, receiving her correct diagnosis for the first time. The therapist says, "You have dissociative disorder," formally called multiple personality. And all she knows about multiple personality is what she's seen on the big screen. You know, the Hollywood version. The sexual predators, the serial killers, the demonically possessed. That's not Christy. But this is all she's heard, and this is all she knows. But she also heard some very good news that day. According to the therapist, she had options. She had choices. She could do things. She could learn to just accept her diagnosis, which would really mean that she could understand why she lost time, why she got blamed for things she didn't do, why she was in trouble so much. Or she could learn to control them better. But her third option was to integrate, a more difficult and a longer process. Christy chose to integrate. Very difficult decision. She had 5 alternate personalities, and she loved them. They were her friends when she was lonely, when she was little, and they helped her meet all the needs she didn't feel she could meet on her own. First of all, there was little Paul. Paul was only about 6 years old. Paul was the sweetest little guy. He just wanted to be loved and taken care of. He wanted to meet me. So one day when she was about 6 years old, she came running in the kitchen and she said, "Mom, Mom, Mom, I'm Paul." And I looked at her and I said, "Really? Paul? How are you, Paul?" She said, "I'm fine, Mom." And I said, "Are you Christy's imaginary friend?" And Paul looked up at me and said, "No, I'm Paul. I'm Japanese." And I said, "Go on away, Christy. Go play with your imaginary friend. I'm cooking dinner." Dismissed. Paul never asked to meet me again. You may not know one of the 1% of people in the United States that suffer from identity disorder or dissociative disorder. But my guess is that you know one out of 5 Americans that suffer from some mental disorder. Maybe it's your family, maybe it's in your friends, maybe it's among acquaintances. but you probably know someone that you can help. So we're going to talk a little bit about takeaways. There are 3 important takeaways here for you. The first one is to remember Hollywood's got it wrong. Don't mistake entertainment for education. They're 2 separate things. Get your education from the people that know. We have a wonderful organization right here on the island called NAMI, National Association for Mentally Ill, that can answer all your questions and direct you to where you need to go for help. So don't mistake education and entertainment, 2 different things. The second thing is to remember that opinion and empathy are also different. Everyone has opinions. It requires no depth of knowledge. It requires very little to give an opinion. Empathy requires you put your own ego aside. You step inside to another person's shoes, and you walk in those for a while. That gives you the true feeling of what the person with the mental disorder is working with. And the third thing is to remember that you should never give up. It took 20 years almost and several different diagnoses before Christy was appropriately identified and healing could begin. She started with 5. Not only did she have little Paul, but she had a little girl who was named Suki, who wanted to be a teacher when she grew up. She had another little girl, Callie, the clown, who became a clown so she could make herself the center of attention in class. So the kids would laugh at her and the bully's power would be taken away from them. She had another little girl, Tin, who cut off all her daughter's hair, her little sister's hair, before shoving her down the stairs. And she also had Sky, who taught her everything she needed to know about pain and pleasure. Christy integrated into one healthy young lady. She took all the splintered parts and put them together into herself. So I ask that you help your neighbors, your friends, your families by remembering entertainment is not education, empathy is not opinion, and never ever give up. Thank you.